defining ownership in very different ways. Just as I would argue that pedagogy has to be made meaningful in order to be made critical and transformative, I think it's fair to argue, as I've been saying, that there's really no politics without a pedagogy of identification. And that is, people have to invest something of themselves in how they're addressed or recognized, so that any mode of pedagogy or idea has to speak to their conditions and provide a moment of recognition. Lacking this understanding, pedagogy all too easily becomes a form of intellectual and symbolic violence, one that assaults rather than educates. One can see this in forms of high-stakes testing and empirically driven teaching approaches, which dull the critical impulse and produce what I call dead zones of the imagination. Do we somehow try to find connections with people outside of the university? Do we redefine and attempt to redefine the nature of education itself? Indigenous issues matter. Racism matters. Labor exploitation matters. But they've got to be brought together. We need a more comprehensive politics that links these things in ways that will be able to mobilize people into larger social formations. And we need to imagine not just simply reforming a society that's broken, we need to imagine eliminating it. We need a new kind of society. We need a new discourse, we need a new set of institutions. And maybe the place to begin to do that is to take seriously what it means to take education seriously, what it means to take pedagogy seriously, what it means to recognize that we're not just altering knowledge, we're altering consciousness, and we're creating new kinds of subjectivities. To the responsibility of deepening and expanding the meaning and the practice of an insurrectional, in my estimation, an insurrectional and radical democracy. And at the heart of such a challenge is the question of what education should accomplish in a democracy. What work do educators have to do to create the economic, political, and ethical conditions necessary in a society that can provide a way of thinking about the future that doesn't mimic the present?